Hello, welcome to our latest episode of That's Fair Podcasting. It's just me, Matt,
And Myles.
and Mark is away on this last segment, but we are going to discuss what we want and don't want in Elder Scrolls 6 by Bethesda. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stay tuned. I think after Starfield, we're going to really need some kind of redemption.
Oh yeah, dude. I think that they're gonna have to come in pretty hot and heavy with this next Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, I think that what they don't need to be doing as far as repeating Starfield. I know Starfield is its own new IP now, and I get that. I get it's its own space IP and everything about that. But the one thing that they need to do with Skyrim is they need to bring a little bit more story element to it because.
You mean Elder Scrolls?
Or yeah, did I say Skyrim?
Yeah.
Well, okay, Skyrim sequel, Elder Scrolls 6, however you want to call it. Yeah, thank you. It just needs, because I don't think we can afford another Skyrim. Not that Skyrim's bad. Skyrim is, to me, the best Bethesda game of all time, but it needs to actually be a little more immersive as far as storytelling and not world creation.
Yeah, I think it needs to. Yeah, I think it needs to dive more into character development. Like, do you remember the Fable games?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think it needs to take a Fable approach to the game and to the aspect of it, right? Like in Skyrim, like if you're just like in Bethesda games, you're just you, right? Like I think you should have a reputation in this one, right?
Right.
Like I think it should if they are truly talking about combining all of Tamriel in this game, then they truly need to have, I think it should be a reputation-based game. And like, maybe, you learn magic or whatever they allow you to learn in this one. I don't know what take it's going to be on this. I don't know what the main story is going to be, but I think that the main story shouldn't be if this game is really as big as they say it's going to be, we shouldn't be seeing a, 15-hour main quest line. We should be seeing like a 30, 40-hour main quest line or more. You know what I mean? If it's this big, it should be a massive main story quest line. Like, it shouldn't be a quest line that you get. Yeah, like everybody wants to see the end of the game, but I remember playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and that game took forever to complete, but it was an amazing storyline, played it through and through, and it wasn't boring throughout the entire thing.
Oh, absolutely. And see, BioWare, before BioWare became BioWare now, which they've got Dragon Age: The Veilguard coming out, which is going to be total dog shit. But like they produced BioWare's best game of all time is probably Mass Effect 2, the second one. And it combined every element of you had an RPG element, you had that reputation you were talking about. You could go renegade, or you can go like good or bad, basically.
Yeah.
And I was always more good than anything. But like the renegade, you choose colder choices. You become more and more evil, and then the character, your crew around you, starts to react to how you're aligned in the world of good and evil.
Yeah.
And like your choices had consequences that carried over into the other games. Like if in Mass Effect 1, you could choose either Caden or Ashley had to stay on a planet Vermeer and die to make sure this bomb went off.
Oh wow.
Okay, they had to. There was no other option.
Yeah.
But whoever you chose to do that in Mass Effect 1, the other character that survived will be in the next two in this trilogy. And so your actions had massive consequences that shaped the game how you want to shape it. And just
so I know this might be a sin here, but I still have not played all the Mass Effects. And
no, that's fine.
How do they connect the storylines? Like, how do they know your character specifically chose that person to die?
Well, because obviously it's saved data. I mean, and then like if you decided to not play the first one, it gives you a brief 10-minute rundown of what you can make the choices in the first one, so you can go into the second one.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's saved data. So like I used to always let Caden die. You're one of your best friends to save the woman because it's the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
and then that gets used, that gets brought up constantly in a lot of ways in the next one, and it helps shape decisions that you make in the next one, and then and so on. So it was huge, because like, you remember Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's basically that with its own space IP and better graphics.
Okay.
You're Commander Shepard. You can choose male or female, because yes, two genders.
Yeah.
And the thing is and you choose them, and you can kind of customize them, or you can choose the one that the normal one it comes with.
Okay.
And yeah, but it's just like, and then you can choose like your certain paths. You want to be a soldier, you can be an engineer, you can be an infiltrator, you can be a specific things. And then if you choose like an infiltrator, which I chose, you could become assassin or scout. Like, you got two paths you can go there from it. So,
Gotcha.
Or you can be a soldier, and you just you have
See, so what I'm saying is, we have this kind of development and thought out process in older games like this. Like, when did Mass Effect 2 come out?
Mass Effect 2 came out in 2010.
Okay, so it came out in 2010. We are pushing up on 15, 16 years, probably 17 years later by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Yeah, they're thinking 2028 probably.
Okay, so we're talking another 18 years. You have that much time on top of your development from when you first announced Elder Scrolls to however far back they first started plotting Elder Scrolls 6. They've had all this time to talk about and think about. You're telling me you don't have a creative development team that can come up with stuff like this anymore?
I don't.
Like,
it's just not Bethesda's MO, though. Like, it almost doesn't matter what decisions you made in a previous game. It will have nothing to do with the next one. And it's good and bad in a way, because the good parts of it is, okay, I'm branching out and I'm going into a new IP, a new game, so I can get rid of the past. But then sometimes, like Dragon Age, the Veilguard coming out, Dragon Age Origins was a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Okay, Dragon Age 2 was okay. Wasn't great. Dragon Age Inquisition, the third one, was a little bit better. The Veilguard comes out. All the decisions you made now don't mean shit anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not a BioWare way, because like Casey Hudson left BioWare. It's just these developing companies aren't the same anymore.
Well, yeah, that's because they think that they want to push towards like, look, yeah, this is what our gamers really want. And it's like, what they did was they asked a small group in the closest region to them, because they don't know how to span out or create proper polls. And they're like, hey, this is what do you think is wrong with our games? And then you have this small group of people that probably most of the time don't even play those games directly, bitching and moaning, complaining, and be like, this is why we don't play your game. And then you got everybody that's, I'm not going to say everybody, but we may even be the small demographic in this, and I could be completely wrong. But maybe we're, like the bigger demographic here that's like, no, we didn't want that change. And now that you pandered to one society that wanted all these changes in the games.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Call of Duty is completely ruined because it's become a movement-based game. For me, it's a movement-based game. It used to be a shooter skill-based game.
Right.
Like in the older, like not quite shooter skill-based, but like it took a lot more to do what it took to like get kills and stuff than it did now. Like, dude, the amount of body movement and shit like that that's in these new games, and it's all because you had these kids just bitching and moaning, complaining about movement.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like these games are being ruined because they're pandering to the wrong crowds of people that like, they're making the games for people that play online.
Well, if you think that you're wrong about the demographic, you're probably not, because the demographics that they're actually, you say, pandering to, which that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
The demographic that they're pandering to doesn't, half of those people don't even fucking play games. They're only arguing for the sake of arguing for political reasons. It's like, the truth is, the largest demographic, and this isn't opinion, it's fact. The largest demographic are white males.
Yeah.
That's the largest demographic. Males, period. But, some of these companies are trying to say that, oh, well, women make up 50%. Bullshit, they do.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Why do you think when women go online, they get targeted? Like, guys have been in prison for so long because they don't know how to be around women.
And here's it's just kind of like boring that these companies, I feel like they're not, and I know that they do a lot of these polls at like the big events, but I feel like they need to do more, right? Like, I feel like when they release a game and you purchase the game, there should be surveys at the end of the game.
Of course, yeah, because that way it gives you the idea that people have actually played the whole fucking game through.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would want to know, like, and some people leave online reviews and say, hey, that's your survey right there. Go online and do the review. But I'm like, but we can agree to send direct feedback to them when it comes to certain games. And why can't we do that with, Bethesda games, main storyline quest games?
It's like they're protected or something. I mean, Bethesda to me, and I said this in the last one, and I think Bethesda is still right now the king.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're trying to dethrone themselves. It's like voluntarily steering the Titanic into the iceberg, and you've seen it. The good thing about Bethesda they're not doing that other companies like BioWare are doing, and especially Ubisoft, they're not pandering like that. You know what I mean? They're still making their game their way. But the problem is their game their way is no longer working. You need new ideas because it's so overplayed.
Their issue is, I feel like this is kind of what happened, right? We got New Vegas, and it left us wanting more.
And that was Obsidian, not even Bethesda, by the way.
Yeah, but it was like
same IP.
Yeah, so we fell into this premise of like, okay, we want more, and then next thing you know, we got Skyrim, and Skyrim became amazing, and then they rode this wave for so long on Skyrim. They're like, hey, we're gonna re-release Skyrim, better graphics, updated, and they're like, oh hell yeah, because I remember buying it in 2016, right after Fallout 4 came out, and it might have even been before, to be honest, but I want to say it was in 2016 that their first updated
it was special edition
came out in 2016. And so I went out and bought it, and I'm like, it's the same fucking game.
But it was the first one with mods.
Yeah.
It wasn't called Creation Club at the time.
No, it was mods, and it was just mods alone. And I remember when that came out and stuff, and then I kept wondering, I'm like, dude, how many times are they going to re-release Skyrim?
Fuck, Anniversary fucked it up.
Dude, yeah, the Anniversary Edition messed it up, and then like, you got to get like the Game of the Year Edition if you want the game to work right, and like, it's just all this stuff, but people started bitching after Fallout got boring, and they're like, hey man, like, Fallout 4 was basically just Fallout 3 in reverse, like, what the fuck? Give us something different. And so I think what their issue is that they've been riding the success of Skyrim, and they didn't know where to go, and then they figured, hey, let's basically just reskin it, put a space program in, and then fucking build off of that.
But it didn't work. That was the problem. It didn't work. I'm not saying Starfield is a failure, but I don't
think it's a failure. But
I'm not going to call it a success either.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it works for the right people that enjoy it. I don't enjoy it nearly as much as I thought I was going to.
No, and it's sad because at first I did enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
But Elder Scrolls 6, this is just me thinking, okay? Keep some of the mechanics from, let's say, Fallout 4 and even Starfield.
Building mechanics.
The building, yes. Yeah. Instead of just building, Hearthfire in Skyrim came out and you could build a house. You couldn't really build it. You just laid the foundations. Yeah. You selected it. Boom, it was there.
Yeah.
Let you build it. You build it. Like, mine for all that. Get the wood, and then start laying the foundation. But build communities, build small towns.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it'd be a lot cooler. I think it'd be a lot more immersive if you were allowed to basically become your own jarl, build your own town, build your own society. Like, if you were even allowed to participate in a war between Tamriel, like all of Tamriel, like, you got to choose sides, dictate things. You could settle down, like, instead of settling down and whatever new development in Elder Scrolls 6 that they come out with, like, let's say instead of you could go all the way back to the Solsteam or Skyrim or anywhere where the elves were, wherever you could choose to settle down at. Like,
I would kind of hope we'll leave Tamriel this time. I wouldn't mind going to Valenwood, the elves.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Or like, what is I forgot the name of the place where the Red Guard lives. But I know what you're talking about. Because I swear in the older games, in one of the older games, you could visit those areas. Right.
So I know. So
I think
Solstein,
Morrowynd did it, maybe. No, Morrowynd was like you said, Solstein. No, yeah.
So you could go to Solstein in Skyrim.
Yeah, it was part of the DLC. It was a Dragon Heart or Dragonborn DLC.
Yeah, the Dragonborn DLC.
Dragonborn DLC. Yeah,
and so they got creative with it for a short stint, but I think that I think it would be neat to see where the different people come from, like where the Khajiits come from, where the orcs come from, everything
absolutely.
Like that. So
and I would like to, like I said in Skyrim, Dawnguard DLC really bumped that up, in my opinion. I absolutely love Dawn Guard DLC.
Oh yeah, no, I thought the Dawn Guard DLC was pretty fantastic, and then I thought it brought a lot of cool things to it too.
The
Like
crossbow.
the crossbow was cool. Then you got to develop like different bolts for it, and then you
Mm-hmm.
got to build it, and like you could have different styles of the crossbow.
And I mean, the character Serana. I mean,
Dude,
you
and-
got mad because you couldn't marry her in the game, but still.
but one thing that bugged me too, or it didn't bug me, but it was super cool that like it. I guess it more or less bugged me that they didn't base more of the armor off of the Dawn Guard armor. Like if they
Right.
would have used
It
that
was
design,
awesome
yeah,
armor.
their Dawn Guard armor looked awesome. Dude.
It reminded
Like,
me of samurai armor in a way.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was like samurai meets knight, and
Yeah.
it was really really cool. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to find the
Red
Tamriel
Guard,
map.
like
Yeah,
put Elder Scrolls Red Guard country, because I can't think of it. I'm drawing a blank, but I'd like to see Valenwood. Like I said, that would be a good one. But I don't know. Does it say?
let's see. I went to name generator by
Oh,
accident.
no worries.
Uh,
But while you're doing that, the one thing the thing I want to see the most right now is the first and foremost would be
Hammerfell.
Yes,
is where
thank
they're
you,
from.
thank you, Hammerfell. I want to see Hammerfell,
Yeah, and
Hammerfell or Valenwood.
yeah, so they have Hammerfell. Let's look at this. So this is all of
Yeah.
Tamriel, though. This is what they're talking about bringing to. So you'll get all of these.
Yeah, because you got Somerset Isle, right?
Yeah.
I think.
This is a map of Tamriel, so it should include all of those. So from my understanding, that's what I'm saying though. Is like we're going
But
to
see, what I'm worried about though, what I'm worried about that is though that's going to be too much like Skyrim. Or, I mean Starfield, where you have more world. It's just going to be.
It's just going to be empty.
It's going to be void of life. I mean,
yeah.
when you go to Jemison on Starfield,
Dude, it's literally just the city and that's it.
yeah, like the people will look at you, and they're almost like part of a cult where
Yeah.
they've got like a mind wipe or something.
So this is the map of Tamriel. So
Okay.
we should be able to see all of that stuff.
Oh, Somerset Isle, I think, is in D&D. By the way, no, it is like part of Farron.
Yeah, because Morrowind's over here, and then you got Marsh or Black Marsh, which is where
the lizard people, like
I don't know. I think I
Yeah,
think it's Argonians.
Argonians.
But anyways, besides the point. Let's
No,
get
but,
back
like,
into it.
The one thing I want to see of Elder Scrolls 6, I want community build. I want you to be a Jarl. I want you to be able to run things. Like I want you to like start your own.
You should be able to have a status.
Yeah, and then you have your own currency of septums that are moving in and out.
Yeah.
You know, have your own established community where you're making money, and the more money you can make for your entire community, the better off they are. And like you said, going to war, you can team up with other Jarls and stuff. But the thing about it is if they're talking about that much area to cover, I'm scared we're going to fall into a Starfield thing where it's just immersion over storytelling.
Yeah.
And
that's understandable.
It's not working anymore. I mean, people want to be awed by a story. I would rather, I'd rather a smaller world, even slightly smaller than Skyrim, but with a deep storyline.
Oh yeah. Okay. Like, man, I know this sounds weird, but like, I wish they could almost do like a comic book throw at it, if that makes sense. Like if you go to certain sections, like, could you imagine it? Okay, this would be interesting if they couldn't just do a main storyline. Let's say that each section of the map continues the storyline that you're in, right? So like you have to be in Skyrim for this part of the storyline. You're here for a reason. You're doing stuff here. You have to let's say in Tamriel, you start out in Morrowind and you have to travel to Skyrim to meet the Dragonborn, and he sets you off on your first quest or whatever.
Or maybe he's like sitting on the throne in solitude.
If they're going to use this big of a map, what they need to do is make it to where the storyline takes you and puts you in those areas for long periods of time for character development and growth up until the next section is unlocked. That's what I think would be super interesting. If they could do it that way and really use those sections of the map, and then they wouldn't have to focus so much on think of that as in like in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. When you travel to like Ireland and stuff like that.
Right.
How it's a cutscene map. So that's what they should do instead of making it one fluent map, make it a cutscene map almost. If like for traveling purposes. So that way, they could make it to where that it's not a completely. I don't need a fast loading screen. Okay.
Right. I don't. The slow loading screens don't matter. Why? The longer it takes, the more it's loading for you.
Yeah. So that's what. So like, what I like about that is if. Okay, so like, let's say we have to travel from Morrowind to Skyrim. I don't mind if I have to have a loading screen that's going to take a minute because you're doing a full development. Like all of Skyrim is all of Skyrim again. You know what I mean? It's not emptiness and stuff like that. Like there's quest lines and stuff like that within Skyrim as well. Like if they were to do full development in them, like I don't want to go to a part of Skyrim or a part of Tamriel and have absolutely no life form and no quests, nothing like that going on like you do in Starfield.
Right, and that's what scares me. That format is scaring the shit out of me. Now, in Bethesda's defense, Starfield is its own new IP. So maybe, slap Unreal Engine 5 first on Elder Scrolls 6.
That would be amazing.
There's your first recipe for success.
Well, they have Unreal Engine 5.5 now or something
like that. Right, I saw that.
Then there's another one that I sent you. I can't remember the name of it.
I'll have to look it up.
Super competitive.
Because I was showing you Asmon Gold had one on his. He was going over, on his YouTube channel, Asmon was going over the 5.5, which was fucking insane.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But, I mean, the thing about, we need to, I mean, Fallout 4, you had the whole Boston area. Then it took you to Nuka-Cola World. And then it took you to Far Harbor. Once again,
I enjoyed Far Harbor.
I did too. It was great.
Far Harbor was one of my favorites.
It was the best DLC in that game.
Yes, by far. And I think the reason for me being is because I've always thought it would be really cool to retire and own a lighthouse and be a fisherman.
Oh yeah, that would be fucking awesome. Yeah,
it gives me the full vibes right there.
Absolutely, and who wouldn't want that?
I mean, there's quite a few people that.
Well, no, maybe just be cool as shit, though, is what I'm saying.
Would be neat.
It would be very relaxing.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is again, though, it's taking you to more places, and it's stretching out their resources by showing you more instead of giving you more people to interact with. Interactions, it's an RPG for a reason. And Starfield was so fucking weak in its role-playing elements. Your relationships in Starfield were boring as fuck. You had Sarah who would sit there and say, don't leave anything behind when you're collecting shit. And then she would turn around and say, what are you doing? Put that junk down. And I was like, fuck you.
They get annoying.
It's just like, and then you hear Andreja talking. Yes, you need me? I'm like, dude, I don't care if she's Romanian or whatever. She sounds stupid. I mean, so no, I'm just saying it's like you got to do better with your, because Mass Effect, their relationship dialogue, you didn't even have to be romantically involved.
No,
their relationship dialogue, Garrus Vicarian, who was this different alien race, right?
Yeah.
Dude, he was my go-to guy. He was my right hand in the Mass Effect, and he's in all three of them. He's in all. Oh, you will fucking love him.
All right, I'll have to look into it. But I sent you a game that I think might spank Starfield a little bit heavier than anticipated. It's a new game coming out with Henry Cavill as one of or Cavill, however you say his last name. He's one of the main characters in it, I guess. And you have it's supposed to be one of the most immersive. It's a first person game. Space games, and you get to do all the space travel and stuff like that. And as you're traveling through certain sections of the galaxy, I guess, like I was saying with Tamriel, if they made it to where you had to do character development within that section before you could move forward and unlock that portion of the map.
Right.
That's kind of what's going on in this game, and I sent you the link, so you're gonna have to check out the video a little later.
I'll tell you a game you should think about trying is Kingdom Come Deliverance, because the second one's coming out now.
Yeah,
that actually blew me away. But the one I'm going to get, me and Mandy want to buy, because we're playing 7 Days to Die 1.0 now. I'm waiting on the update. But the one thing that we want to start doing is I'm going to buy Baldur's Gate 3, because I just hear nothing but fantastic fucking ratings about it.
Everyone rants and raves about Baldur's Gate 3, and it's funny because I used to work with a dude that was it was so funny. He was so confident that Xbox would never get Baldur's Gate. He goes, dude, we'll get Starfield and everything else long before you guys ever get Baldur's Gate. And I'm like, 2 days later, dude, Baldur's Gate 3 hit Xbox. And I was like, hey, man, it's Baldur's Gate just hit Xbox.
Eat your words.
I was like, yeah. He was like, no way. And I was like, Yeah, dude. It was
But another thing I'd also like to see in Elder Scrolls 6 though is deeper characterization of yourself. Like,
yeah,
you know how like GTA 6 is kind of wanting to do where you almost have to start getting haircuts. You have to
yeah.
like
Just in Red Dead.
yes,
And
I want evolution with my character. Like not necessarily getting haircuts, but like let's say he's got short hair and it's growing out, and like if you like pick someone in the game to marry,
yeah,
why not have a kid with them? And like instead of adopting, let's make it immersive for the characters.
yeah,
Not don't give me more fucking things to look at.
yeah.
Give me more immersion for my character.
I'm not saying like we're not saying like we need to witness characters fucking, but we need.
Oh no,
like,
nothing. I don't give a
but
shit
like
about
just
that.
like but like in Fable, like you could choose like, hey, married, have children down the line. Like,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
Could do that in Fable, but you had to develop a relationship with the person, get married, and then eventually you guys had to both agree in Fable, from my understanding, to have a kid, right? Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, you don't have to see the sex scenes. I mean, Mass Effect did it.
yeah,
But they, like my guy always chose Liara in the first one, and then he stuck with Miranda through the whole thing. Like it was just a thing. But
yeah,
like you choose your wife in Elder Scrolls 6, and then like like I said, you don't always have to like go to bed every night or something.
Yeah.
But like give them a life outside of their life of adventuring. I understand how much more it's going to put into it, but characters or give players a reason to invest in their character that they create, and then that'll get them coming back for more.
Like if you want people to play your game, you need to give them a reason to play it.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to like. I feel like their pre-launch sales are probably going to be pretty low. With the next Elder Scrolls, unless they really come out with something that they show us in like one of the sneak peeks that's going to blow us all away.
Right.
I feel like it's going to fall, and I think it's because it's going to be one of two reasons. We're either going to be scared it's going to be like Skyrim, or we're going to be scared it's going to be like Starfield. And they really got to push away from both. And that's going to be a hard thing for Bethesda to do.
Absolutely right. What they need to do is, I don't mind elements of Skyrim in there, and I don't mind elements of Starfield in there.
Yeah.
But you really need to focus on character customization. Let them guide their character. Give them a reason to want to come back into that world, and let us build a community. And then on top of it, give us a good storyline.
Yeah.
Like
because as of right now, Bethesda is that dude that you haven't seen in 15 years that still wears his Letterman's jacket. Like that's literally what Bethesda is, right?
No, that's a good point.
And then like he comes up to you and goes, "Hey man, you remember that touchdown I made back in fucking 1993?" You're like, "Dude, it's been 20 years."
I know.
Okay.
So here's the deal. So if that guy in his Letterman jacket sits down and starts telling me about his life now, and all of a sudden I'm interested, then there's where Bethesda can redeem themselves with that comparison.
Exactly.
I mean, is Bethesda sunk? No, they're not Ubisoft.
No, they're not sunk yet.
No.
But they're definitely buttoning up that jacket. You know what I mean? They're buttoning up the jacket.
Elder Scrolls 6 can put them back at the top. I still think they're the kings, but now it's more of a self-proclamation of kings. You're not proving it anymore. Yeah. So I think that what they need to do is kind of, do the building, do the character immersion, allow yourself to be deeply involved in the relationships, not just romantic, but friendships, and give it a deep story, give you a reason to come back in. I think this can actually bail Bethesda out. I have faith Bethesda can do the right thing.
Oh yeah, I think Bethesda can definitely pull a sneaky one on us and definitely drop some really cool stuff.
But Unreal Engine 5 though, at least.
Yeah, if they could push for an Unreal Engine, or even for that new development one that I sent you, we'll have to look into it and talk more about it, and maybe I'll send you the link so that way we can link it at the end of our YouTube video or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know though. It seemed pretty wild, man. Like I've seen how stuff works in Unreal Engine, like how it plays versus like how it watches. If that makes sense. Like your cutscenes are gonna look way better than your gameplay. But this was like gameplay, and it looked phenomenal. Like the hair was like flowing in the wind. It looked crazy. It looked real. Like it wasn't a stationary hair that blew a little bit on top. You're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
right?
that's like, nothing now.
I'm talking like this was Pixar detail.
Like I said, Asmon Gold on one of his videos showed Unreal Engine 5.5,
Yeah.
and it blew him away. Like the lighting, they would turn like they were like it was an apocalyptic mall or something,
Yeah.
and then the lights
I
were off.
watched
Then they
it.
turn the lights on, and you're like, oh my god! But
Yeah.
I really, I mean, I'm hanging my hopes on Elder Scrolls 6. That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
Yep. I think we got a lot to look forward to with Elder Scrolls
I do
6.
too, man. I think they can do it, man.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
cool. Great segment, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. And on that note, thank you guys for listening. If you want to find us on YouTube, we are That's Fair Podcasting. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. The like will throw us into that algorithm, and we will remember you for it. So on that note, I am outro.
До свидания.